Hello everybody, welcome to youtube.com/JesterTCG. If you have been on the channel before and are wondering why the name has changed, there's a whole story behind that. I can go into it if you want, let me know in the comments. Anyway, not important, this is a video talking about my season of 2023-2024 in the Pokemon TCG competitive space. It was my first proper season. Last season, well the season before that, now recording this, it's all a bit confusing. I did a couple of tournaments, but like nothing really serious, so I didn't really count it as my first season. This was my first proper season, and I feel like I did really well, all things considered. I ended up finishing the season on 277 points, which is halfway to the invite, which shouldn't sound like a lot, but considering all the things that I messed up on the way there, I feel like I did alright, so let's go through a few of those things. Based on the results of how I performed throughout the season, I think I did okay. I will say a lot of my cups were bubbled, which feels good and bad in a way. Like, it would have been good if I got in, obviously, but the fact that I got on the same scoreline felt pretty good. Only one cup in the entire time I got into top cut, like, quite cleanly. I think I went in on a 4-1-1. A lot of my cups were like 3-2 and stuff like that, and I just managed to squeak in as the last one in top 8. But I did okay, so I ended up finishing with BFL of 5 out of 6. 2 of those were wins, and 3 of them were top 8s. There was no top 4s, which is kind of weird. I haven't made it to top 8 and won, or just got into top 8 and lost. It was kind of wild, but considering it's my first season, I'm very proud of the 2 cup wins. That's absolutely huge to me, so big plus on that one. Honestly, my Achilles heel were kind of challenges. I only got 4 out of 6 on the best finish limit. I didn't win any of them. I top 4'd 3 of them and then got second in 1 of them. So, I mean, this season with BFL of 4, that's everything done. That's kind of cool. But yeah, not brilliant realistically. And then of all the regionals and stuff like that I went to, I top 2, 5, 6, 2 of them. Just missed out on day 2 by a game both times, which is kind of frustrating, especially the Liverpool one. And EUIC I dropped out of because I felt ill, and I think it was Stuttgart I also dropped out of because I felt really ill. So I played Chen Pao at both of those ill tournaments as well, and I think I was just developing a migraine by playing the deck. It was kind of ridiculous, but yeah, 277 points, 2 cup wins. I think that's a pretty good season, all things considered. So what did I learn during this experience? Well, first of all, going into a season of a competitive TCG when you've not really got that much experience in playing TCGs, and you've got like no real backup or knowledge in how these tournaments go and etc., you shouldn't be expecting a Worlds invite. I kind of went in going, yeah, I'm gonna get a Worlds invite, that's gonna be awesome. I gave up on that by, I want to say October, I think it was. I was doing a lot of, and this is another lesson, I was doing a lot of flip-flopping on deck choices. Even in the same weekend, I did a double cup weekend, and I chose one deck that was really bad into a specific like room, like I think it was Roaring Moon into God of War or something like that. And then I ran into another tournament, I chose to go Sablezard and ran into a ton of Miraidons with Iron Hands. It was ridiculous. Like, the only win I got in that entire day was a Miraidon that wasn't playing Iron Hands. So yeah, a little bit frustrating, but definitely one of the lessons I can impart onto you is if you feel good with a deck, even if it's not best deck in format, I think that is way more valuable. The knowledge of that deck is way more valuable than trying to meta chase. Meta chasing was definitely a big issue for me. I kept swapping decks and I just didn't need to. Like, I felt pretty good, and I'll say this much, January was my best month for championship points because I stuck to Roaring Moon the entire month, and it felt really good. I mentioned the Liverpool thing, so that week I won the League Cup with Roaring Moon. I won a online tournament with Roaring Moon, which whether you put value into that or not, I don't know, but I think personally that's impressive, at least to me. And then Liverpool, I was literally 1 game off taking the day 2 with Roaring Moon again. So yeah, Roaring Moon wasn't the best, and God of War kind of destroyed it at the time, but I stuck with it, and honestly, it was like such a fantastic deck to play. And even now, like going back to play the new build of it, the muscle memory's there to like go, okay, I need to do X, Y, Z in this order to maximize like finding certain cards. So yeah, that's my lesson upon to you. Stick to a deck. It sounds like stupid and simple like information or like common sense, but yeah, it's making such a difference. Yeah, the other thing I mentioned was I definitely bubbled a lot, and that's down to me, I think, more than anything else. I had so many cups where I went 3 wins, 2 losses, and unless the first game is a win and you go like win, loss, win, loss, win, you're not likely to bubble into top 8, especially with some of the tighter groups. Like I think we went to Dice Cup the once, and 3-2 would have got in, I think. I think one person got in on 3-2, but because we were just not close enough to having, like, I think it was 6 rounds rather than 5. We just didn't have, like, the right numbers for, like, more than one. In fact, I think all the 3-2s bubbled out. I can't remember. It might have been, like, all the 3-2s bubbled out, and if we had, like, one more person in the tournament, it would have been okay, or something. I can't remember. It was some weird thing like that. But yeah, it was definitely a weird one. On top of that, another lesson, getting tilted with the game is incredibly easy when you're tired. Please value your own mental health and your own levels of tiredness and exhaustion. One of the things, again, this is why I kind of dropped out of the chase almost immediately, like by October, was because I was like running myself into the ground trying to like figure out the best deck to play for every weekend and blah blah blah. And it ties back to like sticking to the one deck. I got the tilts so often, it was ridiculous. And I was quite often going like 0-2 or 1-1 or something like that, just dropping out and not carrying on playing the game for the experience. Like, I definitely was prioritizing the wrong thing in this season, and I won't be doing that this season, I can tell you that much. And finally, another lesson that was imparted to me by Ethan. Not all of you are going to know who Ethan is, but if you know Pumpkin Amy, Ethan is Pumpkin Amy's partner. Ethan was like an invaluable resource for this season. In 2 ways, actually. So he was actually my opponent in the first cup that I won with Roaring Moon, which was kind of wild. But the whole reason I was playing Roaring Moon was because of Ethan. We played each other at a cup, and he kind of like destroyed me. I was playing Giratina at the time, so we ended up having like 40 minutes to like just sit there and talk, basically. He was saying to me that like he notices I change deck slot and stuff, and he asked me why I do it, and I'm like, oh, it's just because, you know, I feel like I should be playing different decks and blah blah, and maybe I'm playing decks that are like too simple. Maybe I need to be playing something that challenges my brain. And he said, why? You don't get more points or anything like that for like playing a deck that requires more brain power. Like, you're not getting... If somebody goes into a tournament and goes 9-0 with Miraidon or 9-0 with Lost Box, the Lost Box player doesn't get more points or more rewards or anything like that. They're almost playing the game on hard mode, and that is for some people. Like, some people enjoy that kind of challenge. But like, for someone like me who's like really new to TCGs and really new to the competitive side of TCGs, there's just no need for it. Like, stick to the simple things that work. And that's when I went to Roaring Moon and just went on an absolute tear. Like, I ended up really enjoying Roaring Moon. So yeah, it's definitely some advice that I would like to give to you as well. I don't know if Ethan will ever watch this, but like, thank you very much for that help. I really appreciate it. It was honestly some of the most helpful stuff. And honestly, talking to Matthew Clark as well, who was my first top 8 opponent in, I think it was Patriot Games in Sheffield, and we played the same deck, and it was such a weird matchup because the first game was like a bunch of cat and mouse. Like, they'd hit into one Pokemon, so I'd retreat it, and then go to another one, I'd hit that, then they'd retreat that, and they ended up winning. And then game 2, I just got absolutely donked, which was quite disappointing, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I also played them in the top 8 of the cup that I won as well, and that was good fun. Like, it's always good chat. Like, I made so many cool friends playing this game, and whether they see me as a friend or not, I don't know, but it is always cool seeing the same people and going, oh, it's you, hey, how's it going, blah blah blah. So another lesson, this is a great game to make friends in. Like, the people around you are like some of the most invaluable resources, so if you can take the time to talk to some of these people, then I would absolutely recommend it, because I know so many great players now who I would feel like if I said to them, hey, this question, they'd be able to give me the answer and just be like really cool about it. So yeah, friends, they're cool and important. So yeah, that does it for this video. I just wanted to make this just kind of like talk about my season a little bit, and I kind of frustrated myself by putting way too much on myself in my first season. I don't know why I did that. Like, I think there might be like some kind of subconscious thing now where like I'm getting into this kind of game, this kind of hobby at the age of 31 at the time, now 32. And maybe I feel like I'm not able to keep up with like all the kids that are just coming up. Like, just like watching the cups and challenges and just seeing like the kids just destroy everybody is kind of ridiculous. And I worry that I'm too old. And then I hear people like JW Prewall and stuff like that going, yeah, I'm doing it for the dads. I'm like 32, 33, 34, whatever he was. I'm going, I'm not a dad. So maybe I've got a slight advantage over those kind of people who've got the extra tiredness now because they've got dad brain, because they've got to deal with kids too. So yeah, I think there's a bit of a subconscious thing there, and I think I'm going into this season with a much more like grounded view of what I want to do. And honestly, I think with all the stuff that's changed to the World's Invite Chase, I think that's kind of taken a lot of weight off my mind as well, because I'm kind of like, will I get it? That's going to be an interesting thought. But that is for another video. Guys, hope you enjoyed this quick video about my season. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. All my social media links are in the description below, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya!